Matt is the Executive Director of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. Our offices are on the 4th floor of this historic landmark building. And that's one thing we have in common with the Emirate, Dubai. Beautiful buildings. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mark Jaffe. I'm the President and CEO of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. And today I have the privilege of introducing our great partners from Dubai. If you think about it, Dubai is 51, 52 years young, and look what they have accomplished. I think everybody should really applaud right now for Dubai, its success. And part of that reason is they're a very tolerant country. The United Arab Emirates is a very tolerant, diverse area, and people want to go there for the beauty, the opportunities, the economic opportunities, and I believe that's what we really share in common, a bond of capitalism. And let's do peace through prosperity and trade. I want to acknowledge some of our guests in the room. I see that we have Richard Foy of the Exim Bank. Thank you, Richard. We have Sadia Mohammed from Ocean Logistics. Now, Sadia has something in common with Elena. Stand up for a minute, Sadia. She was selected by the United States Small Business Administration as one of the top freight forwarders in the country, and hence the world. And thank you for the crash course on all the canals and all the great trade that we do from that Gulf region. I see our good friends from the Turkish American Chamber, Ali Kochak. The world wants to do business with Dubai and the United Arab Emirates. I see we have the General Consul of New York for the United Arab Emirates. Would you stand up, Ellie Moore? I just had the privilege of meeting her assistant today. So Ellie Moore, you should stand up too. And that's what makes these partnerships great. We work with consulates, we work with trade unions. I see James Kim here. He is the directing manager of the Korean American Chamber of Commerce. Over 70 chapters in the United States, operations chair. Thank you for coming, James. I see Rob Beck from one of our banks here, Immigrant Bank. He owns my property. That's what it comes down to. Look what you've accomplished in just a short 5 decades. You took an arid, small piece of land and turned it into a global powerhouse. But I could stand here all day and talk about it, but we have the experts in the room. So I'd like to call up Ahmed Ben Salaham, who is the CEO of the Dubai Multi-Commodity Center. And if you want to do business with India and the world, go halfway around the world, and we're going to find out why the DMCC is such a powerhouse.
Thank you very much for that intro. I just came here from day 2 of the World Federation of Diamond Horses President's meeting. I had to excuse myself, so I'm leaving for another urgent matter, which is the New York Chamber of Commerce event. I joined this organization in 2001. It was an initiative, very ambitious one. Family, communities, other governments found it funny, unreachable. But that's the story of His Highness Sheikh Abdul Rashid Al Maktoum, our Vice President and Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates, ruler of Dubai. A lot of his initiatives were seen too dreamy. And not all of the projects would succeed. But DMCC is one of those that has established itself in spite of all of the challenges or the impossible scenarios and all that. So I was lucky to join at a very early age, 22 or 23. 2001 was pre-concept. 2002 was when His Highness unveiled the initiative in April. And one of his quotes was, in the near future, we look to attract about 50% of global gold trade via Dubai. This is about 23 years ago. I'm not sure if my colleagues put this in my speech or not, but the UAE beat Hong Kong and the United Kingdom just last year to be the second largest gold hub after Switzerland. And I'm told that this gap is getting smaller between us and Switzerland. I don't look at it that way. It's not a race from my perspective. From my perspective, it's very simple. It's to utilize the full capability of Dubai, its logistics, its financial environment, its ecosystem, sports, legal, whatever is missing, just to make sure we leave nothing to chance. And so far, that's been the result. I'll stick to my speech. I'll add lip here and there, but I just wanted to point that out. It's an initiative that was seen as far-fetched, and today we're one of the most influential commodity hubs in the world, whether it be tea, coffee, diamonds, colored stones, today crypto, esports and gaming. We're known for gold and precious metals, which is about 1,600 companies. We're known for diamonds and colored stones, about the same, 1,500 companies. But our leading sector in DMCC is actually the oil and gas and renewable energy sector, with over 3,400 companies, including brands like Aramco Trading, Sinopec, Total, Fukushima, Glencore, Reliance, Trafigura, and a few others. So we have an interesting energy ecosystem that you do not find in Saudi or in Abu Dhabi and other places who have a strong position in the energy trade. I guess simply because we're not a big exporter. I don't know if you know the story about the city of Dubai. The father of Dubai, the late Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, was approached by explorers, and they explored for oil. And then they came back to His Highness. So the story is really narrated by Sheikh Al Rashid about how he inherited the vision from his father. And they said, we have good news and bad news. Which one would you like first? And His Highness said, Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed asked, well, the good news, of course. We found oil. That's the good news. What's the bad news? Not enough. So that pushed the leadership in Dubai to invest into infrastructure. And one of those was the port, the Jebel Ali port, which wasn't digestible by the community. They wanted other priorities. The port that they were investing in didn't make sense to them. So you'll find this on record on YouTube, on websites. The son Sheikh Rashid was pushed to try to convince his father to focus priorities somewhere else. Long story short, the message from the late Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed was, we're not building this for them. We're not building it for the next generation. But by the third and fourth generation, this would be vital. And that was the moment His Highness inherited his father's vision. And today, DP World, is one of these ports operators where the sun doesn't set on. It operates from the Far East, not in the US, but it's in Canada, Brazil, Ecuador, Guayaquil, Santo Domingo, it's all over. And I think probably if it will ever have any proper operations in the US, these are the years where it might happen. But that's the history. And we're under, as DMCC, there's a level of expectation to achieve. We're encouraged to experiment. We're allowed to make mistakes. If we were not, I wouldn't be here talking to you. 25 years, I'm not perfect. I do my own mistakes, but there's a lot to share. And I'll stick to my speech now. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. For those of you who are new to Dubai and think it's all about whatever you see on Instagram, that's not Dubai. That's not what you see on TikTok. I'd like to begin by thanking our partner, the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce, for their support. In recent months, we have witnessed landmark developments between the United Arab Emirates and the United States. Just last month, President Trump visited the UAE as part of the first foreign trip of his second term. recall correctly, he did that before Euro, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's been on the video thing for the Davos event. This visit saw the signing of strategic agreements worth over $200 billion spanning sectors such as artificial intelligence, energy, defense, and infrastructure. Prior to that, I think in Ramadan, if you remember the visit by His Highness Sheikh Bahnoun bin Zayed, and there was a commitment of something over $1 trillion. That still goes over my head, but it shows you how we take technology, energy, and AI seriously. One of the biggest announcements includes the largest AI campus outside the US, the $500 billion, 10 square mile Stargate UAE AI campus. Expected to be launched in 2026 in Abu Dhabi, that will eventually provide 5 gigawatts of power capacity for AI data centers. This major project combines American leadership in advanced semiconductors and embrace of innovation, a great example of synergies between our countries. This is going to work. Not every family wants their kids to be experienced abroad anymore. It's not attractive as it used to be. I recall I read somewhere the role of campuses in the future would be more of a daycare center for grown-ups. And you all check stuff on your AI, I bet, before coming here. But this will be the trend going forward. The foundations of our relationship have been strong for some time. In 2024, bilateral US-UAE trade reached $34.4 billion, making an 8.5% increase from the previous year. Beyond the oil, we maintain a healthy range of goods trades from precious stones, diamonds to base metals, vehicles, machinery, and aircraft. In fact, the US has a substantial trade surplus with the UAE, its third largest globally. The UAE has been the US's #1 export market in the Middle East for more than a decade and is on track to becoming the leading source of FDI into the United States. We see this momentum on the ground every day. DMCC is now home to over 700 companies, a rise of over 7% in the past 12 months. With an estimated 1,500 American companies in the UAE, we're proud to say that DMCC is home to over 45% of total American businesses presence in the United Arab Emirates. Just April last year, there were about 5,000 British companies in the United Arab Emirates. Over 40% of them call DMCC home. It's not just American companies, it's also your cousins in the UK. Many of you are already familiar with DMCC. For those less familiar, allow me to briefly introduce who we are. The Dubai Multi-Commodity Center is home to over 26,000 members from across the world. We represent a diverse range of sectors, from physical commodities like diamonds, gold, tea, coffee, and energy, to high-level services, advanced technology, and sustainability. With future initiatives, likely before the end of this year, we'll probably have a soft opening of the DMCC Honey Center and the DMCC Cacao Center, which I've pushed back for about 4 or 5 years now. We represent over 83 businesses in that sector today. We continue to experience record-breaking growth in the past 3 years. I do know from 2020 to 2023, we brought in over 10,000 companies. We have welcomed 8,000 new companies in the past 3 years. In 2,048 in 2024, 2,692 in 2023, and the record 3,049 in 2022. And from the beginning of this year till now, I believe we have crossed the mark of 900 companies. We should be crossing 1,000 already. These numbers mean that DMCC today accounts for 15% of all foreign direct investment to the city of Dubai and 7% of Dubai's GDP. Our ecosystems have been central to this growth. Let me provide some examples. I mentioned technology earlier. Oil and gas, over 3,400. For tech and fintech, over 3,200 businesses at the DMCC. Something that surprised my leadership, but we're open. We're open to all businesses, and if it's not relevant to our expertise, we require third-party approval, whether that's legal from the Ministry of Justice, whether that's medical from the Ministry of Health or Dubai Health Authority. I doubt my colleagues have put in all the activities we do register, but just want to throw that out there. Last September, we were excited to have launched the DMCC AI Center, the region's leading hub for pragmatic AI innovation. Since then, the center has grown to almost 100 AI and robotic companies, including AMD, Hotel, Hikvision, Robotics, and Connect Earth. We work closely with IBM when we register these companies and other leading sectors as well. Who's filming here? You can't share what I'm about to say, but Kraken is going to set up soon. And apparently they have an AI side to them. I'm excited about that. So sometime between 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, that should make the news. I don't know whether it's a big deal in the crypto market or not, but I'm hoping it is. I have a lot of respect to the founders of Kraken. They stood their ground with the previous head of SEC, and they're very quiet with the new direction of the SEC. DMCC is home to, as I said, to over 3,200 tech companies, including 800 within our integrated technology ecosystem. What do I mean by that? I mean the DMCC Crypto Center, which is the Middle East's most influential Web3 hub, with over 650 companies across the entire Web3 spectrum. 3 years ago, that crypto center represented more than 70% of the GCC market itself. We work with some of the industry's top entities, including Solana, who provide accelerated programs, access to technical support, knowledge, and capital. I was surprised to know they have a nice focus on gaming, trying to make blockchain gaming mainstream. Not sure if that will ever happen. It's just like blockchain social media platforms. I don't know if AI has disrupted that out the window. Given the huge demand in this area, earlier this year we announced the launch of Crypto Tower in JLT. Once complete, that tower will feature 17 floors and 150,000 square feet of leasable space, dedicated incubators, an AI floor, crypto club, vault storage, and a bullion shop. The gentleman behind the project has a big ego. His name is Enzo Napoleon. He's part Madagascar, he's part Italian, and he does punch above his weight. I wish him all the best. I'm glad he's trying this in DMCC. In 2022, we opened the DMCC Gaming Center. When I say gaming, I have to highlight this is nothing related to the Win in Ras Al Khaimah or sports betting. This is video games, VR, independent gaming developers that make them for your phones, etc. And apparently that market is huge. Today it counts for over 120 member companies, and it's one of the leading clusters of game developers, esports businesses in the MENA region. I can guarantee you haven't seen the beginning of this. I'm having so much fun with this because every few weeks I call my mother and say, remember the late nights of me playing Super Mario? It's paying the bills. But yeah, I have a good relationship with the Nintendo family, the Yamauchi family. They don't tell me when the Switch is out. They told me it will be out in 26 to make sure no one knows it's coming now. I'm enjoying watching the handheld battle between Steam, Xbox, and we know that Sony will come up with theirs. They have an open budget. I like the competition between those industries, and they are tied to AI, medical breakthroughs and all that, believe it or not. And I think in 2 months I should come up with a write-up to show the synergies between AI, gaming industry, and crypto as well. Together, these three centers are part of a fully integrated ecosystem within our headquarters of Uptown Tower, offering the ideal launchpad for US tech entrepreneurs looking to scale globally. This has been such a success that our 2 floors in Uptown Tower, which is about 4,000 square meters, is expanding to an extra floor within the building itself. I think level 15 will be dedicated now to that Web3 business center. Another area to highlight is diamonds. I just came from the president's meeting. I'm very curious, who cares about diamonds here? Who's involved? I mean, as a gift, right? Yeah? Valentine, anniversary,
No reason.
birthdays, or apologies, okay. But nobody's a diamond trader, huh? Or a lab-grown diamond trader over there. You're a diamond trader. Why aren't you at the WFDB? No interest. You came to see me. Do you know what they're discussing over there? Possibly electing me as their first Arab president for the World Edition Diamond Courses. No, we don't know what's happening. I know what's behind that door. And if I would walk into that door, it would be because our president and vice president will use this as bragging rights. But it's a responsibility. And the gentleman obviously is from India. Just to show you how this works, the Jewish community is behind me, the Israeli community is behind me, but the biggest surprise was all of the Indian community are behind me. For some reason, I'm seen as India's man. I take that as a badge of honor. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. I'm not in the room for that. I'm here. New York's legacy in this sector is well known. While the US remains the world's largest jewelry market, valued at over $77 billion last year. For those who don't know, the US also represents more than 20% of the polished diamond industry as well. At DMCC, we have built a globally recognized precious stones ecosystem, hosting more than 1,350 businesses across the entire value chain. We're talking only about diamonds and not Kara stones or the naughty boys lab-grown diamonds. From the Dubai Diamond Exchange, the world's largest tender facility, we have propelled the United Arab Emirates from virtually zero diamond trade to a global hub with over 1 billion carats of rough and polished diamonds traded in the past 5 years. The Dubai Diamond Exchange hosted 85 tenders last year alone, including multiple tenders for colored gemstones and lab-grown diamonds as we continue to diversify our precious stones offering. For those of you in precious stones and metals, you over there, I will take this opportunity now to invite you to our second man-made or lab-grown diamond symposium on 30th of September at Almas Tower. It's not a discussion to say that lab-grown diamonds or farmed diamonds are gem quality or not. It's a discussion about the full spectrum of the lab-grown diamond business, how it can complement the natural diamond, the jewelry industry, its role as the top choice for semiconductors and the tech industry as well. It's a new addition to this sector. It used to be only used 50 or 80 years ago for industrial use, but today it can complement the jewelry industry. I used to say there are specific cuts the natural diamonds will never touch and lab-grown diamonds can complement it. One of the cuts, well, a few of them are Star of David, the Cross, the Crescent, but there was one where a lab-grown diamond was cut into a diamond ring to set gold, whatever you want on top. I stand corrected. Somebody cut a diamond ring out of natural diamond, and the cost is astronomical. But never say never. Well, the advice we gave 2 years ago in our first lab-grown diamond symposium was: you're making beautiful paint, but your business is not in selling your paint. It's to sell your painting. It's to sell your art. And we were encouraging co-opetition, compete, but work together with the natural diamond community. If you look at emeralds and color stones, rabbis and sapphires, they've always had lab-grown stones. Didn't make much, and they do get sold in Hong Kong. Then they both have two different market segments. For my ancestors, pearls, we did not fare very well. 99% of pearls around the world, maybe a bit more, are farm pearls. And whatever is left, natural pearls, yeah, they do have an expensive price tag, but there's no market for it. And I'm of the generation where I try to explain that farm pearls are very natural. I know it's not, but I have to say that the only unnatural part of the farm pearl is the seeding process, and everything else is the same. But as an Emirati, I can tell you it's not. It's not the same as diving for the pearl, telling you who the diver was, where it was coming from. Just like coffee, you're going to have what? Lab-grown coffee, and you can expect me to say it's the same as a Colombian geisha, Panamanian geisha, or Papua New Guinea, or Hawaiian Kona coffee. No. For people in space, maybe lab-grown coffee will work, but not here.
There's definitely a market for manufacturing.
I'm all for it, and that's what bothers people. I'm the chair of the Kimberley process. And there was this expectation that I'll take sides. I don't take sides. I think if they're all working above board and they disclose, it's up to the consumers. I'm not against the centralized authorities or the banks or fiat, but I don't care for their criticism of Bitcoin and the decentralized authorities, especially when central banks and the banking industry have dropped the ball so many times that nobody wants to have their money in any bank saving account. That's why you put your money in what? Bitcoin, gold, diamonds, properties in Dubai. It's a reflection of the trust that we do not have with the traditional banks. But anyways, I like variety, I like options, and we leave it to the consumers. So the Dubai Diamond Exchange hosted 85 tenders last year alone, including multiple tenders for colored gemstones and lab-grown diamonds, as you can see. These include a lot of emeralds and sometimes even pearls. We've had visits from the Shima Pearls Association and the Japan Pearls Association as well, who are looking for an alternative to Hong Kong. And that's where Dubai is headed, to be the new Hong Kong for our region, to be a Hong Kong for Hong Kong itself. Even on Forma has been hosting jewelry events before the COVID pandemic, have been making plans to have their events and activities in Dubai as an alternative. They saw this coming. So September 30th, I promise you it will be entertaining. You'll learn something. And even if you're not involved in the diamond and jewelry industry, it is relevant. It is the future of tech. And if there will be a futures contract or an options contract on CME related to diamonds, I think lab-grown will be it. Doesn't matter what price it is standard, and it is consumed, and it is part of the market. So I don't know if it makes sense to have it there, to hedge against it, but I do see it coming. I love my colleagues. They skipped the tea forum. Can I have the date for the tea forum? I mean, I know I'm in the US, and the history of no taxation without representation meant a lot of Americans threw their tea crates. But what are the dates? Which hotel? Carlton JBR, 3rd and 4th of November. Dubai is the leading re-exporter of tea, between 30 and 60% of market global share for re-exports, which is why we launched our coffee center. It was based on the tea success. I strongly suggest you do attend. Americans do drink tea, mostly iced tea, and they do have tea farms for some reason, but they do have tea farms in the US. The other more important event is the 13th edition of Dubai Precious Metals Conference on 24th, 25th of November at the Atlantis in the Palm. It is important you do show up. A lot is happening in the gold industry. Last year's keynote speaker was the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, just because the program was filled with all the experts of gold, and I thought, let's have fun with it, and the audience liked the story for some reason. I would also like to briefly mention energy. I did mention that a little bit. It is of huge strategic importance to the United States and the UAE. We enjoy a dynamic relationship encompassing traditional hydrocarbons, clean energy, and cross-border investments. With the UAE recently announced it will raise energy investments in the US to over $440 billion in the coming decade. Energy has evolved and diversified enormously in the past few years. Most of you would have known Dubai hosted the COP28 meetings, As much as the meetings at the Expo City were important, I can tell you the more important meetings were happening at the Super Cool Mobility Center in Uptown Tower. They piggybacked on COP28, and all of the key meetings that happened there, more or less, were happening at the Uptown Tower. The idea of Super Cool Mobility Center that was established in Puebla, and then Boston, and Reggio Emilia in Italy, an hour and a half or 2 hours from Venice, and now in Dubai in Uptown Towers, basically to promote, educate, invest, accelerate everything that moves away from combustion to clean and renewable energy. More than welcome to visit anytime. It's on level 10 Uptown Tower. Our members are some of the biggest names: Petronas, Total Group, Sinopec, Reliance, Trafigura, as I mentioned before. Considering the UAE's strategic position within the global energy landscape, we are uniquely positioned to support US energy businesses to expand their global footprint and unlock new trade opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, as the US and UAE move into the next phase of their growth, we will continue to build and enhance the business environment to enable US companies to connect and expand globally. There was a comment made during our roadshow in Singapore, and it was influenced by just the headlines and a little bit here and there without any thought process to the history. And the question was, why are there more American businesses, more Chinese businesses than there are American businesses in Dubai? And they were wondering if it has to do with BRICS, geopolitics. And I explained it from my perspective. The Chinese are earlier comers to Dubai, and when it comes to international presence, Singapore and Hong Kong were always the choices that the American businesses, I believe, were used to. They're new to Dubai and it will come in time. Plus, there's that small issue of at least 10 or 15 years ago, 80 or 90% of Americans don't have passports to travel in. And I think now it's between 60 and 70%. So there's a bit of that. But we host UFC championships, we host a lot of international events, racing, you name it. I think it's just a matter of time. And the fact that Dubai is becoming more and more the Geneva of our region, we'll see more and more American entrepreneurs. I mean, it's in your DNA. Before the West was America, you were in the West, buying and investing and trading. Coming to Dubai is nothing. So I do believe this will grow, especially with the sectors we're looking to bring in. We have the water center where there's an article in Khalij Times that's out where I break down some of the innovations, some of the businesses in the water center. Coming up, the future initiatives, I believe the US plays a big role in, whether it's cacao, the honey center, and next year, hopefully, I build the courage to launch our meat center, which I will only do hand in hand with DP World. And I mentioned the meat center. For some of you who may not be in the meat business, you are the face of the meat industry. Just to recount an old conversation I had with the supplier of Elway's Steakhouses in Colorado. Half of Colorado's the meat industry. So William was talking to me and he goes, Ahmed, as soon as you're ready, I'm shipping all of our meat to Dubai. I'm like, but William, that's so far from Colorado. That is a long time for it to arrive. He said, no, it's not. The time it takes for my meat, he's talking about Colorado, but I will be talking to Texas and all the good producers as well. I'm not in anyone's camp. He said that time is perfect because that's the aging process. It tells you how little I know about the meat industry. But I'm very excited. A lot of our inspirations comes from New York and the US. One of the major reasons New York is still standing is because it refuses to give up, and that's a common theme in Dubai. We moved into the Diamond Tower, the world's tallest Diamond Tower, just as the recession kicked in. We're here because we refused to give up, and it paid dividends. So enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you for making it.
Very good morning.
Go ahead.
My name is Andres Hayes. I'm the president and CEO of Artify Group. It's a company that is based, a group that is based out of Washington, D.C., with offices also in the Middle East, in the UAE, and in Washington, D.C. What we do is we promote and we assist countries, counties, cities, chambers of commerce, economic development offices with an international strategy to be able to attract foreign direct investment and promote export. As a former director of trade and commerce for the city of Washington, D.C., I'm delighted that we were the ones who actually built the first ever strategy to be able to attract foreign direct investment for the city and also to be able to promote export, supporting SMEs. Now, I'm not a politician. After I finished my journey, I told the mayor of Washington, I said, well, you know what, it's time for me to move on. I already built a plan, we implemented, now we actually brought in over 1,500 individuals to the city that now call DC, international individuals that now call DC home. So we're very delighted for that. At the same time, I do have to say that part of our journey was for us to be able to build partnerships throughout different countries throughout the world that literally felt into our initiative to be able to attract foreign direct investment and to promote export. So I'm going to take you very briefly, and I promise I'm going to be brief in terms of our journey and how we started. First of all, we name our company Artify. Believe it or not, it's an Arabic word, and what it means is elevate. It goes back to elevating the level of service either for those countries, cities, counties, chambers of commerce, and economic development offices, and most importantly, to be able to elevate the services for SMEs. We do have a calling, and our calling is to be able to support SMEs to get into the international business. We fully know, yes, SMEs are the backbone of the economy, they're interested, but we take it to another level. We want to ensure that we can teach you on how to get to that process. And part of that process, it takes you to this journey. When we started doing business in the Middle East over more than 20-something years ago, it was all desert. I used to work for Visa International, and one of the things that we did to implement the first ATM, it took us a long process to implement it. Can you imagine? The average transaction at that time was almost 1.5 minutes, and that was a short time. So now you can imagine nowadays we do it in almost 2 seconds. So everything's changing. Times are changing. We are changing. The industry changes and technology is changing. So that gives us a calling that we have to change as well. Why I'm taking you to this journey for a simple reason. As we started and I see how the UAE, especially Dubai, is evolving, as we just heard from Mr. Ahmed, how the Emirates of Dubai is evolving, that means that we should use that as example for us to evolve. That's why we decided from an Artify perspective to partner with organizations that help us take other companies, especially SMEs, into the international journey. Why DMCC? For 3 major reasons. First one, it's easier to be able to actually accommodate and to implement and to also incorporate. They will take you by the hand. 2, also easy access to the rest of the world. We're looking also as the hub of the world. We're looking in terms of the Americas, we're looking also in terms of Africa, Europe, Asia, and Oceania as well. 3, most importantly, the safety factor. Those are the issues that for us help us convince to bring more businesses to the Middle East, and especially businesses to Dubai. So, I am not going to give you the lecture in terms of why. That's something that my friends are going to do from DMCC, but I can tell you that we are here to keep supporting and taking businesses through the journey of how they can expand their business internationally. So we are delighted that we can actually partner with DMCC, take them in different roadshows throughout the United States and the rest of the world to be able to teach and educate other members. Either you're doing business internationally or you're doing business domestically, but again, it's how to be able to evolve that strategy and build it into Dubai and consider Dubai. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to my good friend, Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim Mohammed, Senior Manager of Corporate Sales for the Americas and Oceania for DMCC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andres. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, very good morning to you. I would like to begin to say that Dubai future bright is better than before, and DMCC is leading the way. We'll take you for a short video of Dubai and we'll continue.
The new normal where we reimagined our offerings and reinvented our businesses. A world where change is the only constant, and where speed and cooperation have accelerated exponential thinking. Where the power to convene instantaneously and universally is reinforced by technology. Where collaboration is the foundation, and where ease of access and seamless connectivity are the norm. Where talent is recognized, achievement is celebrated, and business always has a seat at the table. Where success lies in our ability to look at the bigger picture. Where advancement is the only accepted mindset. And as we take a step forward, it's time to say, join us, make your mark. Welcome to the pioneers, the path definers, and the game changers amongst us. Welcome to a place where business as usual is anything but. Welcome to Dubai.
Dubai anchor in terms of accessibility and connectivity. With 4 hours flight, you will get connected to 2.5 billion people. Double that number of flight, you will have access to 5 billion people into Central Asia, spanning producers, consumers, and users. Dubai has been awarded in different recognitions locally and globally. Therefore, we are proudly like to say we are number one when it comes to most talent competitive country in the Arab world. We are number one when it comes to most competitive country in the Arab world. We are number one when it comes to more economic performances. In Middle East, North Africa, we've been seen as number one of ease of doing business. Globally, we've been seen number one of best place of doing business. We're number one when it comes to fastest growing startup hub, due to different support from government, fund, and proper infrastructure to support the startups, giving them opportunities to be injected with our local projects. Number one when it comes to most cosmopolitan city, where we come over 200 nationalities living under one area, sharing different kind of events, celebrities, different kind of religion events such as Diwali or Christmas and others. Number one, the world international destination of events. A few months back, we hosted Gulf Food. Dubai has hosted Gulf Food. We talk about over 100,000 visitors with 6,000 participants. Last year, October, we hosted GITEX into tech industry, where we received visitors of 170,000 visitors and 5,000 exhibitors. If you talk about the spread sectors of Dubai, 12% when it comes to financial and insurance, 14% when it comes to transportation and storage, 7.4% when it comes to real estate, 7.4% when it comes to manufacturing, almost 23% when it comes to wholesale, retail, and trade. If you talk about the high net worth individuals in the UAE, we've been top in the past for the past top 5 countries. There's to be attracted 6,700 high net worth individuals in 2024. In 2025, up to this date, we are over 8,200 high net worth individuals moving to Dubai. If we talk about the DMCC, we established in 2002, we are part of the government of Dubai, dedicated establishing Dubai global gateway communities for trade. We are a free zone regulator as well as trade facilitator. This is how we look like 23 years back. This is how we look like today. So you can see the number of development and commitment ensuring the expansion for our existing members in the same area. We'll take you for another corporate video presentation of DMCC and we'll continue.
The future of trade is shaped right here, in the heart of Dubai. Connecting your business to the rest of the world. business. For dreams to realize, for visions to materialize, for the impossible to be made possible. DMCC is home to world-leading companies, as well as startups, entrepreneurs, and fast-growing industries. In a vibrant district where innovation thrives, where our dedicated ecosystems for commodities, agri, Web3, gaming, and AI will help shape your next opportunity. Where new relationships are forged, and where making things happen is the only way forward. Join tomorrow's trailblazers and today's pathmakers. Set up your business in DMCC, a place where you can live, work, thrive, and trade. DMCC, where the world does business.
Our community numbers, we are a project of 2 million square meters, surrounding 87 commercial and residential towers. Home of over 25,000 members, 187 countries they represent themselves in DMCC, over 600 retail outlets, 13 service offices, and 5 hotels. 80,000 people sponsored by DMCC. The community itself in DMCC, we have 100,000 people who work, live in DMCC. DMCC falls into strong 3 main columns. Number 1 comes the free zone, where we offer registration, licensing, end-to-end services. But we are also property developers, where we develop different types of commercial entities, residential entities, to ensure expansion, development that's happening in existing area, and give opportunity for companies to grow. The other strong arm is we create different kinds of ecosystems, platforms, helping gaming, crypto, AI, commodities to expand and to run and give them opportunities to network with existing members. So it's not about inviting you to set up in DMCC, but also to give you, offer you the platforms to use it for your benefits. Talking about the benefits in DMCC, it's 100% ownership, business-friendly tax environment, full capital registrations, location in the new heart of Dubai. The most important part is we connect your business and we create great enablers with different platforms where you can run your business. The other important matter is fully digital to set up your process. You don't need to be in Dubai to set up your company. You can do it online with us. From beginning of starting the process, applications, evaluations, verifying legal documents, shareholders, that you can be able to do it online. Some of the international brands that we have in DMCC, packages. We offer different kinds of packages. We create a dedicated packages for startups, SMEs, to set up their business, help them to have, when I say package, I'm talking about license registrations, including virtual office, as well as helping them to open a bank account. We have also Prime Plus packages, where we created for large corporates, medium and large corporates, and we have residence packages as well. And we created a dedicated package for AI, gaming, and crypto. Last month, we have introduced a new structure of companies, for holding companies to set up in DMCC. First is DMCC holding company. It's a holding where you can be able to hold different entities focused into different activities, helping away from 0% corporate tax. And we create DMCC special purpose vehicle, where you can have a strategic tool to hold assets and focus into different projects. As well as DMCC Family Office, where it comes for wealth management and giving you opportunity to invest into different assets and opportunities to avoid 0% corporate tax. Visas, in DMCC, we offer you 2 years visa, either to be owner of the company or to be employee of the company. But the government, federal law, they announce about giving you opportunity of green visa of 5 years that comes with certain type of requirements, and golden visa for 10 years that comes with different kind of requirements. Representative offices, we have 3 representative offices, one in Turkey, India, China. We have projects called ISP, it's International Service Providers, where it's been dedicated for expertise, designed for law firms, consultants who can help companies to expand into Middle East, in Dubai, or in GCC regions. We've got South Africa, Singapore, UK, Switzerland, Italy, Colombia, and very soon we'll have one in Washington, headed by RTP Group. Commodity and trade ecosystems. DMCC in 2005, we did announce about the DMCC centers that put us to be today the largest re-export of tea, that is exported from different countries to Dubai, where we offer blending, packaging, storage, and re-export to other countries. That gives us the opportunities to build DMCC coffee centers, over 16,000 square meter indoor room temperature facilities, helping the coffee players, coffee end users to use our facility, and they do packaging, repackaging to other countries. DMCC precious stones, today we have over 1,400 businesses. DMCC precious metals, we are talking about 25% of the world gold trade that happened in DMCC. Energy, 3,400 members, and it's growing, ongoing members. If you talk about the tech ecosystems, we have a proper platforms ecosystems for crypto, AI, gaming industries, bringing them to be under one floor. We realize people that comes from crypto perspective, they speak about AI. People comes from gaming, they talk about the crypto. So bringing those sectors under one roof, it makes more sense for them to have the same language. A quick snapshot of crypto ecosystems. We got Brain, CD Labs, we got Solana, Bomba Networks, and other opportunity support from governments and security players. AI, we got AGCC, IBM, and we have attractive members who are playing important roles into AI sector. Gaming, we have over 130 members in DMCC with 6 ecosystems partners. And we create different kind of events for a dedicated sector such as gaming events, AI events, and crypto events. Today we have over 700 companies, US members in DMCC. And the other side is their brands, just that we have in DMCC. I'm proud enough to say that we have amazing members and partners in DMCC. We got AmCham, American Chamber of Commerce in Dubai, who have been with us more than 7 years in DMCC, and where we help US companies and US businesses to get connected in Dubai regions, discuss the opportunities, how we can be able to develop new events, webinars, education series, to educate the US members or US businesses how they should be able to connect in Dubai. But also we are allies with Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, where they do help us with visiting USA, New York, conducting our events, bringing different kind of roadshows, helping them with their members and other members to tap on into the Middle East region. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
And okay, I'd like to pull up from the American Chamber of Commerce. Kara Azari. I've known Karen for a couple of years. She's fantastic, and I really enjoyed the presentation so far. I do want to acknowledge that we have one of the best halal restaurants in all of the United States right here. Stand up, will you? Please, Ali Kochak is the proprietor. Ann Joffrey, please come up, founder and CEO of, my glasses aren't on, is that Ann Joffrey and Company. And I like that name. We had a discussion. I'm Jaffrey and she's Jaffrey. And Mohammed, we just heard from, and Andres Hayes. I have to acknowledge a personal comment about Andres. We went on a trip together to the British Virgin Islands with the governor of that island, and I hope that we get over to Dubai soon. And it sounds really good, that September 30th Artificial Intelligence Symposium. So we're now going to have a panel discussion, and who is going to moderate? Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to keep this panel very dynamic, and one of the things we're going to leave some time so we can hear from you, and please, and we can answer as many questions as you might have, because we want to make sure that you walk out of here with as much information as possible. But the first question I would like to ask, and let's go straight to it, is going to be to you, Mohammed. So if we can actually just give us 4 reasons of, let's start from the basic of why Dubai.
Thank you, Andres. Well, Dubai offers a different kind of attractiveness in terms of infrastructures. When you decided to come to Dubai, you need to understand the opportunities, the geographic implications, how we can be able to support companies, how Dubai are pretty much well connected to give you access to other markets in the GCC region. You talk about 2.5 billion people connected from Dubai. That's a big number, and giving you more opportunities. Not only to mention, we got a lot of people that decide to come to Dubai and establish their business, ended up bringing their family and having presence over there and injecting them into our schools, living their life. They don't want to go back. So that's an opportunity in terms of infrastructure, security, talk about safe. We talk about people, they can business-friendly environment and make them feel like this is their home.
Thank you, Mohammed. And I'm going to take the liberty to add one more thing to that, and it's the fact that there's an opportunity to keep growing with Dubai. And what I'm trying to say here is the fact that there's not such a thing as a bad idea. As long as one thing I learned doing business in Dubai is the fact, if you're the best, they want to hear from you. It doesn't care what idea you have, but make sure you're unique and you have something to offer. And that's one of the things. Do not be scared when at 3 o'clock in the morning you wake up and you say, oh my God, I thought about this. Yes, that's something that you can share with them. And they're welcome all those opportunities. So that's one thing that please plan on the back of your heads. You know, you can, that's a place where you can take that place and try to make it happen. Carl, I'm going to go to you. Let's talk a little bit about opportunities. So what sectors are seeing the strongest outbound expansion from the US? And how Dubai and DMCC align with those trends?
Well, I think we have all learned a lot about DMCC this morning in the many ways that it supports the diverse network that it has in hand. I think one of the things that I love about DMCC and the team there is that they respond to the needs of the business sectors, as Ahmed pointed out this morning, as Mohammed continued to highlight. The administration here in the US can sway what what looks like a good opportunity to come to Dubai from the US one way or the other, right? And we all know that there has been much change in the last 6 months. But I do think that Dubai is still poised to host all the American business that wants to come that way. I think one of the key things that DMCC does really well is provide the ecosystem for business as it looks to set up in the UAE. There are many well-known multinational American brands hosted in Dubai, but what we need and what I continue to drive home every time I get the opportunity is that ecosystem. Bring those small to medium enterprises that can help support those larger companies on their quest for global expansion, honestly. I feel like that is really, truly where it can be. I think there's a lot of energy and synergy between U.S. initiatives in the green energy and sustainable areas that may be looking to look at the international markets more than some of the U.S. opportunities now, as things have shifted a little bit in the U.S. I think that technology and AI continue to be exponentially growing. And the UAE, DMCC has done a great job of supporting that growth, as we've heard through the centers, the blockchain, crypto, and the AI centers that it has there. So I think those are going to be things that continue to grow and thrive in the market there. And I do think that, actually, I think he's gone already, but I do think that higher education will continue to, folks will continue to look overseas for higher education with the changing, shifting winds that are blowing here in the US, so there's always that opportunity as well.
Thank you, Kara. And if you don't mind, I'm going to stick with you.
Okay.
Going with the same flow. Now, you talk about the DMCC, okay, and the industry sectors. Now, talk about how Anishan can provide support to these U.S. companies, okay, to get into the overall DMCC ecosystem.
Excellent. That's a great question. So, and one of my favorites. So one of the things, working with Artife, working with DMCC, we work with the chamber here. It has been a great opportunity for us to come together and figure out where there's ways to collaborate. How can we integrate? We are part of a network in Dubai of 75 national chambers of commerce that sit in Dubai. We are part of the AmCham MENA. We're the chair of the AmCham MENA, so there are 13 chambers that come under our umbrella that we're currently supporting. There's just many, many ways that we can work to help companies understand the ecosystem of the region, and more specifically, our expertise is in Dubai. But Dubai and the Northern Emirates is definitely a growth platform, and we work closely with companies to help them align their strategies with what makes sense. We don't do your due diligence. We have lots of member companies who do that. We encourage you to really, really invest the time and energy that it takes to make sure that your business model will be successful. But as we have heard multiple times this morning, there's no reason that if you have something unique to offer, that it will not be successful in the UAE. They are hungry to have innovative technologies come and set up there and really, really, really support those technologies when they get there. They don't just set up and then say, thank you very much, it's been a great experience helping you establish your business. We work closely with DMCC. We do several events with them every year. We do events with Dubai Chamber of Commerce. We do events across the UAE and the region beyond to help businesses become aware of opportunities that exist.
Thank you, Kara. And one thing I want to add to that as well. For somebody who's been doing international trade for the past 35 years, I can tell you, strategic partners are the AmChams around the world. These are the ones who are going to take you by the hand in terms of how to set your operations and also get acquainted with the local ecosystem. So this is a strategic partner. Thank you very much for that, Kara. And I want to turn it up to you. Let's keep talking about different opportunities. And I'm going to twist a little bit. So I would like to hear from you. How does Dubai infrastructure and policy environment, which is we know is very critical nowadays, help there is global expansion for American companies?
Well, just so you know who I am, a little more than was said, I moved to Dubai when I was 21 years old, started my first business there when I was 23, and now help companies from around the United States enter the market. So when I'm counseling, I work across the whole GCC, but when I'm counseling companies about market entry, I always go to Dubai and UAE first because it is the very easiest market entry point in the region. And that has to do with, 20 years ago there was a book that was written called Dubai Inc. They are very business oriented and the regulations are modernized and updated on the regular. They set a platform or a goal 10x. And that meant that they wanted to be 10 times ahead of global cities around the world. And that really is what has happened over the years. Dubai in particular, they are paperless in the government. They've achieved so many things. They have the Dubai Future Foundation, which is focused totally on future vision and attracting companies and thought leaders to Dubai to contribute to the ecosystem there. And when you look around, they had a minister of the future. And when he's a college friend of mine, a very dear friend, and when he told me that, I was like, I had to chuckle, like, minister of the future, come on, please. But they really have done so much. And from a ministry of the future, then we have a minister of AI, we have a minister of happiness. They're always looking towards being 10 times ahead of everyone else, and they really have managed to accomplish that. When we were in college, he had a t-shirt that said, New York, Paris, London, Dubai. And that was funny then. I was in college in '84. And I used to laugh about that. So again, I continued to laugh at him until he was a minister of future, I laughed then. But they do accomplish their goals. When Sheikh Mohammed says jump, they don't say how high. They say, can I come down now? That's just the way Dubai is really driven, both as a city and as well as a business hub, a business center. So that in terms of regulations, they are evolving far ahead. Look at crypto. They have a crypto regulation authority already. They're putting down the infrastructure for that. Whereas the United States is just too afraid. What are we going to do? How are we going to control this? Really, Dubai has embraced the future and where we're headed 10 times ahead of what most cities and most of the countries that I've worked in terms of regulation. And what was the other? And pro-business. If you can't make it in Dubai, you might as well hang up your spurs and go home. And through DMCC. I have no affiliation with DMCC, but I have licensed 3 companies in DMCC of my own, and also take companies that I bring in to look at the different options, because they do give that option. It used to be if you wanted to enter the market and license in UAE or any of the Gulf states, you had to invest quite a bit of money. And now DMCC has a model where you don't have to do that. You can take a baby step into the market. It's not going to cost you as much, and then they will grow with you. And they do have that ecosystem where it's not just, you're not just licensed in a tower, but they have these ecosystems where you're engaging with your colleagues in AI, or you're engaging with your colleagues in agri-trade. It's not just all of those as well. They have other communities in there. So yeah, as I said, if you can't make it in Dubai, they're the benchmark. They're the GCC benchmark. If you want to see where the future is headed in the GCC countries, look at Dubai.
Thank you, and hold to that mic, because I'm going to continue another question for you. But I want to know by a raise of hand, how many of you have been to Dubai?
Whoa!
We got 50% of the room. Excellent. Stick to that, because for those that raise your hands, I'll have a few questions for you afterwards. So, and let me take advantage while you're there, and please address, our friends here. What do you think are the most important factors that USA companies or businesses need to know before expanding to Dubai? Give me the 3 top points.
Well, without exposing what American companies are not very good at. I mean, we work with all kinds of companies. Some companies will come in and think that we're the best, they should want us, and we as Americans can be quite arrogant about our products and services in our country. And you cannot come into UAE or Dubai, and it's really, it's a buyer's market, and it's not just the United States companies that are trying to get in there. You are competing with the best from all over the world. So you have to come in with a very humble, Emiratis are very humble people. You have to come in there and try to sell solutions to them that they want, not force them to take your solutions because you're selling them. So it's they are very shrewd. I give advice all day long. One of the things that Americans think is the roads are paved with gold. Okay, yeah. You saw the high net worth individuals? There's a lot of money there. But one thing that you don't realize is that they are very shrewd. And you need to be ready to, don't think it's going to be easy to get business in UAE. You really have to understand the culture. I mean, you can get licensed, but then what do? You need to understand that their culture operates differently, that it has a lot to do with respect. A yes can mean yes, a yes can mean no, and a yes can mean maybe. You have to look at other tells going into these meetings, because I have American companies that come out of, we do B2B meetings set up for a lot of companies that come in for trade missions and delegations, and they'll come out of every meeting like, oh yeah, we're gonna work with them, this is a win, and then they go back to America and they don't hear from them, and they can't get them to respond to an email. Well, you need to be able to read the room and understand how to actually get that relationship off the ground, because they're not going to embarrass you, and they don't want you to embarrass them. There's so many things that I can tell you, but, do your due diligence, assess the market before you come. In some industries, they're oversaturated in, and we'll be like, oh no, not another vitamin company. And then there's others that you're like, why aren't you looking at this market? The opportunity is there.
Thank you. One thing I want to stress is what you talk about the culture, and I think that's critical. One of the things that we do advise the companies when doing business in the Middle East, especially in Dubai, you need to understand the culture. Doing business is completely different when we walk in here to an office in the United States, and you hit it right on the spot. That we want to make sure that we go in, how you doing, we shake hands, what's the deal, yes or no, then we walk out. No, that's not how it works there. First, they want to get to know you, and then after probably the third or fourth time, then we're going to start talking business. And that's part of the culture. So sometimes, we get frustrated, and I had to learn that the hard way. We get frustrated because, why we don't get a response right away? Well, something probably didn't click. But part of the process is to be able to understand the culture, and that's why you need organizations like the Answers to guide you, and also the local chambers as well, to guide you to be able to understand how to do business in these countries.
It's all about relationships.
Yes, absolutely.
So even for my own business, you better betcha I went over and introduced myself to Adam. Because in the long run, that will play into it. Because if you don't know somebody, I know somebody who knows that person.
That's right.
So it's all about being in the market, investing in those relationships, attending events. We go to networking events probably 4 to 5 nights a week. And that's just to meet other people, to build these collaborative situations.
Sorry, just like to add also to this. One of the most important factors is, yes, we can help you to set up your business online, but you gotta be in the ground. It's a different time zones. You gotta be there, meeting different people, attending different events, building a relationship. And as Anna has mentioned, that it's by referral. We can refer them to different business or similar courses to build your businesses. The most important part is, if you want to be in the game, you have to be in the ground.
That's right.
That's the most important.
Mohammed, that's your next recipe, so keep that in mind. As a proud Emirati, what advice you can give the audience, okay, when it comes to, or what they need to be aware when relocating to Dubai?
The most important is to have a proper research, what you need, what is required, understanding the UAE law, the federal law, how it works. As Anas mentioned, also specialize with the opportunities. But you need to do your own due diligence, market research, visibility study in the market, understanding this area is suitable for you. Is this they can be able to help you? There are plenty of reasons there in UAE, but you need to select the right one. And that's really important for you to understand what it requires, how that's possible to be happen, where you can be able to build it, what you need to make it work for you.
Thank you, Mohammed. And last question before opening to the audience, and this is going to be around 1 minute each. So I'll start with you, Karen. So if you had to describe Dubai in 3 words, what would those be?
I think the 3 words I would use to describe Dubai are unstoppable, thriving. It's unbelievable what I see happening there now, especially, I will say this, I know we haven't talked about this much, but the real estate market for Americans investing in real estate in Dubai is growing exponentially right now, and it's huge. And then I think welcoming those would be my 3 words. I think, and those would be all day, every day. And I do think, Mohammed, your advice was good, that everybody should do their research, but also I think come. That would be what I would say. It is worth the gamble to come to Dubai. Bring your family. I moved to Dubai in 1992, and I have never looked back since.
Excellent point. That's one of the advice I really always give. Exploring, not for what you see on TikTok, what you see on Instagram. You have to want to experience it yourself before you make any move. Thank you for that.
My first word would be home, because I've lived in UAE longer than I've lived in the United States. It's just such as Kara said, a welcoming environment. I mean, I've started businesses, I got married, I had 2 kids and raised them there. And I've always felt embraced. I would say dynamic, because I mean, it's hard just to keep up with DMCC. I mean, I heard things this morning that I didn't even know, and it's my job to know. So dynamic for sure. You're always going to find the cutting edge developments there. And my last word would be am I getting suggestions? Try to come with 3 words.
That's fine. Listen, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
I would say amazing. We'll go with amazing, because I mean,
thank you for that.
Fashion. You know, we don't go to the grocery store in our sweatpants.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to leave the last word before we open it to a panel. And I know today we've been to DMCC University for free when Ahmed gave us that course today. So it was great to actually hear what, every single thing that is aspect. Mohammed took us through the process of, why DMCC and everything has to, what it features. Everything has to do when it comes to incorporating. So I'm going to leave the last words to you, Mohammed, of, for them to take away about DMCC and also how you guys can contribute and convince them to come back or to come to Dubai.
Well, I would say that Dubai is the future. Dubai is, if you want to be not saying, oh guys, oh shit, I'm late. If you want to be at the top, if you want to be in the game, if you want to be in the race, then it's good to be Dubai. Because from Dubai, it gives you opportunities to access, opportunities to get connected. It's where you can be able to have different opportunities for you and even for your clients to be there on the ground.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before opening, thank you for this, your experts. So now we're going to take questions from the audience. Sorry? Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I've been to Dubai. I'm an international tax lawyer and have done a number of transactions involving UAE companies, and I agree. And I've been there, and it's a little hotter than my taste, but that's just life in the fast lane. One thing that, and I agree about the ease of business formation, the ease of doing business, and the comfort level is very high there. So I second all of that. The one thing that I'm seeing most recently, and it's arising in part because of the drama with Russia, is in the U.S. the rules are tightening and getting more confusing about like federal bank account reporting, FATCA, and then also business ownership disclosures in the U.S. And I'm just wondering how you're encountering that and what, if anything, you're sort of doing in a systematic way about that.
That's a great question, actually. The UAE implemented many years ago, very early on, the FATCA requirements and is rigid about them as it relates to Americans overseas. So they seriously take that very seriously. The component of people, I think you're talking about ultimate beneficial ownership, is that correct? Yeah, that's also something that's not left, there's no stone left unturned when the authorities start to look at things in the UAE. Transparency is very important to the market there, and they do a great job of due diligence and making sure that they know ultimately where the money came from and making sure that it's coming from the true sources.
The thing that I had the most trouble with, thank you for getting into this, the bank account opening. It was a challenge. I think it has improved over time. Opening a bank account is not a challenge for most Americans anymore. What still remains a challenge, honestly, are investment accounts for Americans. But general banking with no investment component shouldn't be a challenge anymore. If you're having problems, let me know. I'm happy to put anybody that you're working with who's having a challenge in contact with some banks that I know are very user-friendly for Americans. But it shouldn't be a problem anywhere anymore. Sorry to take more time. It's inbound U.S. investment, so you have people from the stand and that country, that big country we started to know on Russia, non-sanctioned people from Russia and so forth, and that's where I think I'm seeing some decline.
Fair. We have some lawyers we can introduce you to who help folks in the UAE with this. It is a challenge for folks from Russia and from the stands. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Good morning. My name is Frank Garcia. I'm chairman of the National Association of Latino State Chambers, representing 50% of the Hispanic chambers in the U.S. and Puerto Rico. And so I will be leaving the chamber very soon. Thank you for that. I'm Mark's counterpart and also Ali's counterpart. We just started a multi-culture coalition to help in Latin America and the Caribbean. I will be leaving the chamber, this is the first time I say it publicly at Mark's event, to run the first group purchasing organization for minorities in Latin America and the Caribbean to help with the immigration crisis. And so in Dubai, the corporates, Walmart, Target, all the corporates are looking for us to work and buy products from women that are victims in Colombia. Andres knows exactly what I'm talking about. But what we're trying to do is empower. We hear a lot of interest from Dubai in Latin America. The issue is our members don't understand in Colombia, in Latin America, how to do business. And I want to know how my members here could work with Dubai to be able to sell products like sugar, like coffee and commodities, because they're going to Colombia and the farmers are not getting the money, the brokers are, And what we're trying to do is eliminate that. With more opportunities we create, less people come. And with this immigration crisis, the only way to do that is people are now living in Dubai. Why? Because it's an economic, same thing with El Salvador. So if we could create opportunities, more opportunities. So my question to you is how can, if there is an interest in Latin America and the Caribbean, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Salvador, Guatemala, and how can we bridge that gap between Latin America and Dubai? Thank you.
Greater Chamber, New York Chamber of Commerce, they got the office in Colombia. They can help me and support you with this one. I would like to say that we are pretty much well connected when it comes to Latin countries. We have done a couple of events. We have strong relationship with different Chamber of Commerce or economic departments for the past number of years. We have today over 316 businesses from Latin America. They are operating in Dubai. And that comes especially after the Expo 2020, where it boosts the economy of Latin America to consider to ship their businesses to Dubai, especially when it comes to coffee, when it comes to different kinds of commodities. And the environment for Dubai is offering a proper platform for these Latin Americans to access. Before, I would say language was the barrier, but today, because of the new tools, the new AI, there's no barrier between us and Latin America. We don't speak Spanish or Portuguese. We have 90 companies from Brazil. We got 29 businesses from Colombia, mainly focused into commodities, precious zones. And that's how we keep things ongoing. So we are pretty much more diverse in attracting different kinds of sectors, and this is from Latin America to Dubai.
I was just going to say that in terms of doing business, I mean, I work with my colleagues all over all over the world who do the same business that I do. And in terms of culture, the attitude and relationship building is the same in Latin America that we have in the Middle East. But in terms of grassroots level, there's all kinds of companies within your region that we can put you in touch with that help companies there to export.
And finally, there are those folks on the ground in Dubai, my counterparts in those countries. Many of those countries have chambers of commerce in Dubai who could certainly put you in touch with the community that currently exists and tell you what's working and what's not working. So I think that's definitely an option as well.
And one of the things that we're doing as well is, we're also promoting on all my different business travels to be able to promote Dubai and also DMCC, especially in Latin America. So that's something that we currently actively doing today. And one thing I do want to mention as well, they are already organizations like ProColombia. They already have a presence in Dubai.
Yeah, but the Hispanic Chamber with the National Minority Development Council that you're a member of, is working with us directly over there. We're trying to work, because of the corruption, in Latin America, the chambers are working directly over there. We're doing an event in Colombia that we're going to invite all of you with the National Minority Development, 200 corporations for the first time.
Excellent.
Going over there, because that's the only way we'll eliminate this immigration and the corruption there is directly. Because ProColombia, like are the big boys. The small, disadvantaged women businesses that are victim in Cali don't have that access. We do. I have the access of Fernando from Coca-Cola. I have the access at Walmart because I'm the national chair of the chamber. We need to give that access to those small businesses to create opportunity. That's what we want to do with Dubai with our counterparts over there. Because the Hispanic chambers are not working with our counterparts in Dubai. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, so my name is Mahmoud. So Dubai is making investments in crypto, real estate, market, manufacturing, AI. Investment in those sectors would translate normally to further investments in infrastructure. Is the business community community in Dubai interested in co-creation efforts with American companies working on modernizing infrastructure, in particular those who are working on software, circuits, and tailor-made hardware that can be tailored for UAE purposes. Thanks.
I just want to tell you that I know from my member companies, they are always looking for top-tier talent from America. So my brief answer to that is yes. And then I'll turn it over to the more expertise in the panel.
The senior person in the room.
My experience with US tech companies go back maybe 16 years ago. I'm not sure exactly when DMCC really started depending on Google Tech Services. A lot of the decisions we've taken, informed decisions, depends on Google Analytics portfolio. We monitor the traffic, social media platforms, and there's a lot more we're doing with Google. They have a lot, they're the quiet giant in this whole tech race. You don't see big announcements except for one of their founders coming back into the fold because he's excited about what he can bring to the table when it comes to AI. But that's just one American company I can talk to you about. They've also seeded a project with us in DMCC called Astrolabs, which is a Google Tech Hub. And their motto goes along the lines of wherever there's a problem, there's an opportunity for the tech entrepreneurs to provide a service, etc. Now, the idea behind Astrolabs was to create something a bit more friendlier than just a garage that created Google, right? So that's where it comes from. So, there are the big names like Google, and there are other opportunities as well. Not sure if Razer or Razer Gold is an American company, but before we unveiled the DMCC Gaming Center by a year or two before we announced it, Razer seeded an investment into a company called Mentrout. You can Google this. And the idea is, at the time, Razer has covered the laptops and the PC sector, right? They don't have anything on the smartphones and the tablets. And rather than build it from scratch in Dubai, they decided to invest in a company and grow that. It reminds me a bit of Red Bull when Honda kept telling them they're not interested to continue making racing cars for them. Red Bull didn't take no for an answer. They seeded investment in Honda and then created Honda Racing Line. And now they've just moved to another brand. Anyways, the doors are open. If it makes business sense, why not? I mean, the US businesses are coming from the land of innovation and disruption. So yeah, doors are always open if it brings efficiency and brings solutions.
I also want to remind everybody, particularly on that question, about the September 30th AI Symposium. And I think that might be a good point to answer the questions. Maybe we get back in network. Ahmad, if you come up, and Annette. We're going to end the program and do a little bit more networking. And remember, the motto of today, besides all the great things you heard, is to connect, network, and build relationships. Thank you to the DMCC and this great team. And thank you to the members of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce.
Shall I turn this on? Yes.
Again, I want to thank Andres, Kara, Ann, and Mohammed for some great Q&A, some great questions. And of course, I want to thank Ahmed. He gave a marvelous opening speech. I was very impressed, and I can't wait till we do more work. I can't wait to visit Dubai, and I hope you all feel the same way. I know half the room has been there, but we're going to talk more about it, so thank you all for coming.